Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'd just like to have a big welcome to all of us to our ICF Coaching Week webinar. So let's give everyone a big round of applause. Yay! Thank you for making it here this morning. At least it's early in the morning for me. I'm dialing in from Pakistan. It's 5 a.m. in the morning right now. My name is Ronald, and I am the Director of Training for Indonesia and Vietnam. And along with my team, we are so glad to have you here with us. Yeah. And ICF International Coaching Week basically is a week-long global celebration of the power and impact of professional coaching. So every day, individuals and organizations worldwide seek coaching to help them explore their potential and reach their goal. And together with my team, we are just excited and happy and delighted that we have this opportunity and this privilege to share our experiences and to share our thinking, to share our best practices with you as we talk a little bit about transformational coaching in everyday life. So today we are going to be talking about transformative coaching in everyday life. And let me pull out our slide for this morning. All right, just give me a moment. So the topic that we're sharing today is basically comes in two parts. All right. So this morning we're going to be talking about covering three areas. Okay, and we'll be covering premarital coaching. We'll be covering interpersonal relationship coaching as well as healing coaching. All right. And what we intend to do is to really just to share our own personal experience as we go through this area and these aspects as practitioner in coaching. How do we do coaching in this area? How are we being coached in this area? At the same time, what are some best practices? Okay, and how this has impacted us in one way or another. And so we hope that you will be inspired, all right, at the end of the session. And also hope that the little tips that we share with you will be helpful to you as well. And so to start the day and to start the session, I'd like to invite Kuhn, who's going to be sharing with us about premarital coaching. And please pardon Kuhn, because I understand that he had a bit of a sore throat last night, and this morning he's about to lose his voice. So he's going to give his very best, okay, to all of us. So lend him your ears. Kuhn, over to you.
Thank you, Ronald, and thank you everyone for bearing with me then. This is my first time going global, so it's my honor as well to share from my perspective. And I will try my best. With my voice condition, I will try my best to make it the best. All right, so the topic that I'm going to share to all of us here today is premarital coaching. And one thing that is special is I'm sharing it from the perspective of a person who experienced this service. I was also a coach, and I studied an ICF program coaching in 2016. I have also been practicing coaching and doing the coaching with my student for 7 years. But what I will bring on the table with all of us here today is my experience of being coached before I get married. So I have some questions here for all of us here, and three questions I want to bring to all of us here when it comes to premarital coaching. First, is there such a service on the market? You can think about it a little bit. Then, if there is a service like that on the market, then is it necessary? Is it necessary for me? And is it necessary for my husband? Or is it necessary for my spouse? Or is it necessary for my girlfriend or boyfriend, where you are then? And number three, yeah, I know it's necessary then, or it might be necessary, but is it worth my investment? So these are the three questions I really want to bring up for all of us to think. And by going through my sharing today, I will automatically answer these three questions for all of us there. Yep, next question, next slide, please. Okay, so I have searched for some keywords on the internet, both in Vietnamese and English. And basically they have the same meaning. In Vietnamese, that is khai vấn tin hôn nhân. And for English, that is premarital coaching. And this is the kind of some screenshot of the results that I received. And I came to the conclusion as a summary in the next slide like this. Basically, the service that have been provided on the market right now is counseling service for marriage. Even when I type premarital coaching, it comes out counseling service for coaching. Then number two, they are training courses or training programs for couples who want to understand marriage. And number three, number three important topic that shows up on the search engine is premarital medical checkups. And I think it's something to do with the physical health and also the mental health for the marriage. And then number four, which is the thing that I am talking about today, is the premarital coaching service. And what I found was only a few coaching providers, and these are normally international. So in Vietnam, even in Vietnam, I didn't see the coaching program for premarital couples. So these are some of the summary of the thing that I found on Google. Okay. And I pondered myself and I say, why is that? I've been observing the coaching market for the last 7 years in Vietnam. And these are some of the conclusions that I make myself. Isn't it that this marriage topic is so sensitive that people didn't have the need or didn't want to step in or didn't maybe feel interested to to join or to enjoy the service. And I know that when it comes to me and my wife, before we came to the premarital coaching, we were happy to have. In a moment, I'm going to share with you about the coaches that worked with us. But what I was thinking here is the coaching for the couples are really sensitive. Is it the coach probably having some gender bias? If the if the two people comes to one coach, and what if that coach is a man, or what if the coach is a woman? Will they really understand from my perspective when it comes to the coaching session? And can I really trust the coach enough to share something relating to my own personal life that is somehow sensitive and might be taken advantage of? Number two that I ponder for myself is the coach trustworthy himself? Is he the person of integrity? And is he really able to help me with my marriage preparation? I know in Vietnam, and I have observed for a couple of years, and I saw that some people who provide the training services and the training programs, their marriages also have some challenges and difficulty. I didn't mention yet the problem. So can he help himself, and can he really help me in my preparation for my marriage? Then number three, I see that one of the hindrances for coaching for premarital things is the awareness of the market. I think we can easily invest in business coaching or the business development. We can totally invest thousands of dollars in a training courses and yes, thank you for Selena Lu for sharing. So here is worth my investment compared to business and personal development. And can I easily learn it from my parents or learn it from the internet or just can easily learn it by nature? I grew up like that. That's what I observe. Okay. Another hindrance for this topic is normally when we walk into a, romantic relationship, we cannot easily see things. Love is blind or love is pink are the normal kind of quotes that we see when we walk into a love relationship. And when it comes to the question of how can I prepare for the marriage, not just prepare for a wedding, it needs a lot of wisdoms there that step us, help us to step out of the emotion, the strong emotion involved in the process. Okay, and then I also see it for myself and a lot of my friends. The sense of unknown make them feel scared and avoid getting married. So probably you can type on your chat box then what, if you can come back to the moment that you are going to step in the marriage, will you, try a premarital coaching service? And if you tried, then what might be the hindrance for you? You can type in the chat box there. And for some of you that didn't get married or yet, you can imagine the moment that you are going to get married. What might be the obstacle that you might use an external service like that? You please type in the chat box so that we can all see. So what I see from Selena as well here, thank you. So Selena said that the pre-marriage coaching in general and sex coaching is not really common in Vietnam and Asia. Yes, for sharing the perspective. I will share some figure as well for some statistic number. So anyone there, voice of, what might be the obstacle for you there? Okay, yeah, so Helen, many religious groups have premarital programs, not counseling, but preparation, akin to coaching. Yes, true. Okay, so we want we talk with wise and those friends. Yes, I think that is common practice. Yeah, Helen, Tom bringing awareness with open air coaching. Yeah, true. I tried and we were advised not to get married. Oh, Maria, thank you for sharing. We didn't listen. Okay. Oh, sorry then. Okay. Add it up in the box. Oh, okay. I didn't. Sorry for that. Okay, early heart. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Yes. Thank you, Helen, for sharing. All right. So, for the sake of time, we'll go move forward, and then we can have more time discussion, Q&A time at the end of the session. So, Ronald, can you just move to next one? Yes. Thank you, Mary. So, this I also look on some figures on the internet on the marriage, and the number one issue we also hear some of our friends here share is the divorce. And I know that this is a sad thing to talk about, and it really affects negatively on many perspectives of our lives. So, I have some figures here. Can you just guess the next click please, from? Yes, so I have some numbers here. Oh, thank you, Yan. In Vietnam, the number of divorces yearly. Can you just type? I have three answers here: 600, 6,000, or 60,000. Okay, can you just type in the chat box? The number of divorces yearly. And the population in Vietnam is 1 million now. Oh, okay, yeah, Maria, 80%. 6,000, yeah. 60, okay, you hope the 60 to check chung. Yes, 6,000, 6,000, 60,000 Lý Nguyễn, all right, that's quite huge, huh? Okay, so the sad news is really, in reality, maybe 60,000, yes, 60,000, okay, all right. So 30% of the couples got divorced. And in other statistic mode, 3/10 marriages were broken and ended up in divorce. So the figure in the next one, next click, please, Ronald, will be 60,000. Okay, and I took the figure from the Academy of Family and Gender from the Vietnam Academy of Social Sciences. So this is quite huge to me, and I just wonder, like, well, how can we improve this perspective? And what if coaching can do something to make a difference? Because I was the person that prepared myself with coaching for my marriage. Then next click, please, Ronald. Okay, so when it comes to the figure like this, what kind of attitude should we have with marriage? And what are the common things? Is it about scaring? I'm not going to get involved, or I'm going to prepare, or might be if I didn't make it right, I will repair, or probably I will tear it down. Okay, so I hope that when it comes to marriage, we can strongly and powerfully prepare for it. So next slide, please. I'm going to share my next pondering. When I encountered the definition and also the concept of coaching, professional coaching, a couple of years ago, and I would like to bring it here again for all of us. So ICF defined coaching as a partnering with clients in a thought-provoking and creative process that inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential. So what if we can utilize all of these potential, even personally or professionally, for our marriage? And what if we get help from the person who were trained? I'm going to come up with the next slide, and I'm going to share my experience. My case was a little bit special because me and my wife is also here in this conference. Probably I will she can voice up after the Q&A session then. So my case is I was coached by two coaches. And there's something special about these two coaches. They are a married couple. And one was having an ACC, and the other one was a coach with the city approved coaching specific training hours from the ICF. So they are trained coaches. And then they have good testimonial. They have worked with many marriages, many couples, and they have been testified for their integrity. We have known them for many years before we decided to use the service. And one more important thing is they have their marriage has been sustainable for 30 years plus. So that's why important to us when it comes to trust. Can I trust these two people? Can they really help themselves? And you know, on the logos next is the company that they have. I think why I really want to introduce this background because it's really solved my concern over the trustworthiness and also the credibility of the people who do this service, especially in Vietnam. So next slide. This is what we got. And this is what we went through. I was a little bit critical because at that time I was trained in coaching. So, I had, a higher expectation, I would say so, rather than a person who didn't experience coaching training. So, I note here some of the points that we got, that some of the points that we received, and um, you know, um, relationally, then that what we went through. On the left side, what we got was an alignment on a principled relationship. And I think this one is really important in our relationship. I think that in marriage, I know it's a romantic relationship. Um, and I also think that in order to make it sustainable, we need to agree on something. And we were quite happy because even in the process of understanding each other, the coach really helped us to set up a strong agreement, to be honest and to be comfortable to share without getting feared of judgment, and also the confidentiality agreement as well. So we study how to align with each other on some principles since the moment that we walk with each other. Then the second point is, when we invest in the relationship, in this kind of relationship, we have a sense of preparedness. I know that before, and I search for some coaching program, normally we will have some preparation before the coaching sessions, where we will discuss with each other first. And then we will put things on the table, and the coach will facilitate that. And we learn how to discuss, we learn how to talk with each other seriously on a variety of perspectives. Then what me and my wife now also experience is the clarity on the self, and the part and my partner and the relationship and the future. What kind of future we are building together? What kind of relationship? So how the coaches help us with this? The coach help us by providing us the opportunity to really share and put things on the table. I think this is really valuable when it is facilitated by a third party. It really kind of an environment that we can share, that we can clarify, we can freely ask any questions, or any concerns that we need to clarify. And actually, there was one moment that when me and my wife came to a moment that I has a doubt, or I has a concern. And when I brought that question up, that really brought our relationship to a very sensitive moment. And after that moment, we need to stop for about 6 months in our relationships to really see and really think whether this person is the right person for my marriage. So without the process, I would think that I would not be able to raise that kind of thing. And when we discuss, we see, all right, that's what really matters. And how can we really solve that? Then what we got is also, we truly and seriously understand each other. I think that we, in the coaching, the coach really have the questions and also the practices for us to share and to voice up from different perspectives, from our background, from about the way that we will, the topic is about the parenting and about the sex in marriage and about the finance, about the history of our relationship. So when we look at this one, we can, I think, easily understand the partner and prepare for the relationship we are going to step in. Then we learn how to be committed to the relationship by holding accountable by the coaches. What we share there, we know that somebody is watching and somebody is helping us, somebody is witnessing our journey together. So as an adult, I think I was more accountable with what I shared. Then I was challenged on my fixed way of thinking personally, and I believe my wife now would say so. Some moments we will ask some questions that really, uh, challenge us. I decided to be in this way, and then if I bring that into the relationship, is that really mattering? And I think that's the moment that I would challenge myself as well. And then the final thing, I will go quickly for the time's sake, alignment on the difference to move forward. So what if we have some differences? We were given the invitation to make a decision there. So when we share in a comfort zone, we can totally, have all the free choices that we have. We can stop the relationship, or we can choose to move forward and do something with the difference. So those are the things that we experienced and we went through in the coaching session there. And I was so thankful for this process because it prepared me so well for my relationship. And then what matters is what is the result? Is a true result, you may ask. Next slide will share. In the next slide, this is the result that I am having now. So this is my wife and this is my kid. After 3 years of marriages, I think, marriage, sorry. After 3 years of marriage, I am still happy now and I am still committed to this relationship. And we are planning to have more kids to come. And we also help each other to expand, challenging each other and help each other. And I was still happy now at this moment, at least. And we still have all the things that we have prepared over the coaching period to keep it and sometimes refer to when we encounter something. So by that, I'm going to move on to the next slide and leave us with some questions. What are the prospects for the future on this topic? Probably on the personal outlook. You can think about it for yourself. Or a social outlook. 60,000 divorces in Vietnam. As a coach, as a person who experienced coaching and benefit from it, I really want to bring some of my friends. I introduce a lot of my friends to these services. And what kind of solution for this issue? Probably sociology or the other learning, or probably by conversations. And coaching is a conversation that make a difference then. And I hope that after this one, I will pose you to a thought over using coaching as conversations to help people to go through a journey that really understand each other. And then finally, I will leave with us with the 3 questions that I posed at the beginning. Is there a service out there? I would say yes. Is it necessary? You would answer it for myself. Is it worth my experience, my investment? I would say yes. And the conclusion, the final thing I would leave here is, how should I invest in order to enjoy a happy and blessed marriage? Premarital coaching is something that you might be considering for your friends or somebody else there. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Cường, for a very meaningful and insightful sharing from your own experience. And for everyone, it's not just about intimacy relationship, right? So in our life, we have a lot more relationship that we need to handle, like relationship with your friends, with your family members, other family members, and even co-workers. And for those relationships, we need to maintain it, to do something to make it more meaningful, right? So today I'm going to share my experience in interacting with others using coaching tips that I've been practicing. So before I start, I would like to listen to you guys first. So share with me by typing in the chat box for this, not this slide, yes. Okay, so my first question is, in 1 or 2 words, how do you describe a conversation? Please come to the chat box and then type in your answer. How do you describe a conversation in only 1 or 2 words? Communication, honesty, connection, yeah, great. Two-way communication, ask and answer, great. Equal exchange. Oh, this one is so long. I can brief it. Understood, deliver a message, alternate listening, two-way interaction, who attempt to exchange information. Okay, I will wait for a couple minutes more. Respect and accept, trust, great. Allow and accept. All right, I guess there will be some more. Open connection. And then I have the second question, just to help you to reflect a bit. In all the relationship or all the conversation that you've been experienced in your life, in your daily life, is there any moment that you feel uncomfortable or you feel like being judged in a conversation? If you've been experienced that, please say yes. If no, then just leave it no. All right, great. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. So I see a lot of yes here. So I've been transformed myself from the previous career as a person working in supply chain logistics, 17 years, to become a coach 2 years ago. And from that, I experienced something which is very interesting to share with you guys all today. So with this answer that I got from the chat box, I think today's session will be kind of resonate for you guys. All right, so when I have a little survey on with my friends in a small circle and also from my own observation in the conversation that I've been experienced, I got a very interesting information that I would like to share with you guys from the next slide. For what is a conversation all about? So I've been noticing that people tend to be in the conversation, they tend to give advice. Ronald, can you please help to enter? Okay, thank you so much. Giving advice or try to convince others or try to debate or sometimes try to influence or even try to sell something. So in our daily conversation, it is quite different to what we've been experienced as a coach in a conversation, right? So I can see that what we've been sharing in the chat box is quite different from what I've been experienced and observing in the daily life. And that's brought me a very curious question. So what is the conversation all about? What does it mean for the daily life? And interesting, when I tried to get it from a dictionary, I found it. A conversation is a talk between two or more people in which thoughts, feelings, and ideas are expressed. Questions are asked and answered, or news and information is exchanged. So it's quite different between what we've been experienced in the daily life, but it's quite similar to what we've been doing as a coach. And in brief, in the next slide, you can see the brief of what is a conversation all about. So we can see that express thoughts, feelings, and ideas, and sharing information, and also giving question and answer. So to keep this one happen in a conversation, we have to be mindful and keep ourselves not to this one yet. Thank you, Ronald. Can you come back to the previous one? So to keep ourselves in this state of being calm and clear on what is happening in the conversation, to make it happen, we have to do something with ourselves, right? So, but first, with this gap in what happening in the daily life and what it should be as a conversation, I will pause here for a little while to get your input on how do you think, how do you feel when you notice about what is a conversation comparing to what we've been experienced in our daily life. Can someone unmute yourself and share what do you think when I brought up this definition of conversation? Or you can share in the chat box. What is the thought that come up in your mind? Okay, I noticed Jean-Michel is raised your hand.
Yeah. When we look into the picture here, then I can see that there are two faces are very happy. So actually we have some scenario in terms of like conversation, but look into this one, then I can feel that they are happy. Then I can assume that this is like the conversation between the two person, which whereas they have like mutual exchange and sharing the feelings, and they can receive some like understanding, sympathy, and they can exchange and share more about their feelings, their experience, and their knowledge. Then the other one can understand and can learn some experience. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, that's true. That's true that when someone can share and feel like they are listened and also can exchange their knowledge, they will feel very happy in the conversation. Thank you so much, Jam. So I would like to invite Trung to share your thoughts.
Okay, thank you for inviting me. For me, the conversation should be in purpose. Just like we want to exchange the information, or we want to persuade people to do something, or we want to instruct them, to guide them to do something. So by that way, we can give the information, we express the thoughts or feeling or ideas. And there are sometimes like in the conversation, it should not really using the verbal communication. Maybe non-verbal people there keep silent, just shake their hand or shake their head, or to just exchange the information by giving the non-verbal cues, not just like talking, listening as always.
Oh, okay. Thank you for sharing that. I hear that there are ways that you're applying to acknowledge in the conversation for the other one to continue to share more and encourage that person to share more. Thank you for that. Maria, I see your hand is raised.
Yeah, to me, can you hear me okay?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, to me, it's the human nature that the person wants to self-express and share some kind of meaning. You can have, if the person has only one person to talk to, they will talk to that person. But if they don't have that person, you put them on the island, they will talk to the tree, to the water. They will talk and have conversation with non-person. So to me, conversation is something that a person is trying to, it's in the human nature, it's how we are built to self-express and to get some meanings, some signs, symbols, some, like I said, meanings out. And also like, two dogs can have a conversation. Doesn't mean two dogs are talking to each other, but they can translate meaning to each other. Like, hey, let's pair and spread the genes. Okay, good idea, let's do it. So anybody can have a conversation. Any life creature to me can have a conversation. It doesn't necessarily mean there will be a recipient.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. So I hear that by nature, people love to communicate and interact with each other. And so with this understanding about how a conversation should be, then it comes to my own experience where I can see that there is something we should do with ourselves by using coaching technique so that we can be in a conversation, be present, be inviting others to share more and interact in a way that we feel okay. Like everyone shared from the beginning, sometime in a conversation, we feel uncomfortable, we feel being judged, we feel that it's not okay for our feeling, right? So how to make it different as being a coach in a daily life conversation? Well, it comes to my mind for a very simple question. After practicing coaching for a certain time, can you come to the next slide, please? So this is the question that I always keep in my mind when I come to any conversation. What is on about? What is that person is talking about? What is the topic that person is talking about? So by asking myself in a conversation while I interact with others, keep me in a very comfortable place, calm and relaxed. And that also helped me to really listen without having any emotion or any feeling or any trigger from the details that the person is trying to share or trying to say something. And that's really helped me to keep me stay calm and just see the big picture. And by keeping myself in a calm state, I can keep my mind in a state where I don't have the reactivity or I don't try to respond. Because sometimes when we are in reactivity and we respond, it may hit something to the other person, and that will easily become an argument or debating or convincing. And that's how I experience that. And I see, wow, it really works because I don't have any emotion trigger during the conversation. And it leads to the state where the other person is being invited to share more about their feelings, their thinking, their ideas. And this, for these techniques, I've been applying not only for my family members, but also for my friends, without telling them that I'm applying some technique from coaching that I've been learning. And that is, thank you, Manju. And that is interesting when I reflected after almost 2 years learning and practicing coaching. And for this one, I would like to share a real story from my network that I've been experienced lately. Because I've been applying that for all the relationship that I have in all the conversation that I have in my life since the last 2 years. I noticed that the way the others speak to me is a bit different. And the depth of the conversation is even like stronger, and we can share something in a very sensitive but understanding to each other. And 3 weeks ago, I have a group of friends. We've been together for like 10 years, been working together and being friends, and we just like keep the relationship like that for many years until I start studying coaching. And then 3 weeks ago, I've been observing my friends try to give me advice in all the conversation I brought into the sharing with all of them. And I feel like, oh, I don't feel comfortable with this, and I don't feel like it. But with the own version of me, I may put it aside and thought like, okay, this is my close friend. Okay, we can moving on in the conversation and just ignore that. But then at that moment, I decided, no, I should do something else. I cannot leave this conversation or this relationship like this for forever. And then I share what my friend, of course, not this friend because she's my sister. And then I really appreciate her in her support. And then I just take this photo by chance. So that friend, I share with that friend that I noticed that recently you keep giving advice to me, and that makes me really uncomfortable. And if this happens more in the future, it may make me feel I really concerned about our relationship, something like that. And then some weeks later, like just last weekend, she came to me and she shared that, thank you for speak out. And I've been reflecting about that. And then I understand why I did that, because I was in the very stressful and I didn't be in a good state of mindful about what I'm doing. And I will reflecting more and adjust that. So with that story, I would like to share with you something about how we are in a conversation really influence others in the way they interact to us. And by applying the technique from coaching, and for, I'm not sure if there is any guest in our room, but for the student from CMA, with the question for ourselves, what it's all about, for different levels, you can apply different techniques in that. Like level 1, you can observe about the context, what it's all about with the 7 elements. And for second level, you can can observe about values, perception from the person that is sharing to you. And then for the third level, maybe you will observe how the person is sharing in the way they are sharing in the story that they are telling. So with those kind of focus, we will kind of mindful about how our mind, our feeling is, and then in the way we interact, it will be a different version of you. And that for sure will lead to a new connection with the person that you are having conversation with. Well, that is all of my part for sharing with you for how coaching is impactful to me in my daily life, especially in all the relationships that I have. If you have any questions, you can keep it and then share with us in the end of the end of session today, because we still have one small part from Hang after this. So thank you so much for listening for my part. Over to Tan.
Hello, everyone. So this is my turn. My name is Tang. I'm from the faculty member of CMA Vietnam team. So apart from that, I'm actually an HR practitioner. So really happy to be here to share with you today. Yeah. So Ronald, can you just pop up the slide, or I can do it myself? Wait a second. Just to. Okay, give me a second. I'll just share my screen then, because Ronald is not here. Let me know if you see the screen, okay? You see my screen? Jiao, can you help?
Okay, the screen is on already.
Yeah, but I don't know. I need just to, hold on a second. I just don't know. Give me a second.
Ronald is sharing already.
Okay, then let Ronald share it. Sorry. Okay. Thanks, Ronald. So yeah, can you just have the first slide, Ronald? Yeah. Okay, so everyone, so before we start, I would like just to have a little bit of the survey. So can you just type yes if you see yourself in what I said, okay? So the first thing is, I have experienced stress that almost burned myself out. Please type yes if you see yourself in this. Again, okay? I have experienced stress that almost burned myself out. Yeah, long time ago. Yeah. All right, so the second question is, I have been to a depression. Please type yes if you do. Okay. All right. So the third question is, not question, okay, the third statement is, I am stronger after these tipping points. Please say yes if you do. All right, thanks a lot. So for the answer, right? If you see the screen, it's all blue, right? Just a mini question. How many of you actually noticed there's a white dot in the blue screen? Please type yes. If not, then no. That's great, Tinas. Okay, so Lynn didn't. All right, so okay, so Ronald, please, the next slide then. Yep. So today I'm bringing you my story, just to many of you who don't know me, and yeah, okay, until I say it, yeah. And for some of you who know me somehow, this is a true story about myself. So far on this planet Earth, I have encountered 3 occasions I wanted to commit suicide. Yes, this is true. The feeling was unimaginably terrible. I just give me a second just to. Well, that moment I saw no point. I saw no lights at the point that I thought it was the end of the tunnel. And people say that there's always light at the end of the tunnel. But at that time, I was grounded with like question why this happens to me. How am I supposed to be treated like this? And why all of this just suddenly comes to me? Am I creating any values to this life? And even I praying to God. So is he there? Does he has any plan for me? So after all of the tears, the yelling, the cries, and the question just spinning around my head was like, why me? Why am I supposed to deal with all of this? And I was so much into that thinking that I could not think that I would get out of it. And after all of that, I moved on, luckily. Well, I didn't know why. Maybe I was lucky. And maybe there was a calling from universe saying that, okay, I had a plan. I had a mission in this life. So I need to move on. In that moment, when I moved on, I just realized the lesson from the 3 times that I had was, so every time I surpassed that tipping point, my tolerance was extended. So my limitation to the negative end, negative spectrum was enlarged. It means that I could suffer a bigger pain, well, not until the next threshold arrived. So with the experience for myself, I noticed that, okay, today we are talking about the marriage conversation. We're talking about interpersonal conversation. So from my experience, it was also a lot about working internally with ourselves, talking to myself. So with the learning that I had, so once somebody get over that threshold, they will come at the turning point, a positive one. And I was lucky enough to be able to talk to myself, and things was cleared out somehow, but I'm not sure everyone else does. So today, to take this chance to share with you from our alumni and our coaches to be across the continent, I want to share with you my personal story, but also the discovery of how helpful the learnings from the CMA that I got, in particular, with the framework of transformational coaching and also the experience of me working with my clients. I want to share with you how actually coaching can help in healing, can help us heal and make a braver move toward a whole new positive world. So yeah, Ronald, so can you have the next slide, please? So yeah, this picture, this is just resonates so much to me. But first of all, I want us to talk about healing a little bit. So by Oxford Learner's Dictionary says that healing is the process of becoming or making something healthy again. The process of getting better after an emotional shock. So in today's context, by healing, I'm gonna talking about making friends with ourselves again. So imagine as kids, our emotion was so simple. So we saw things as they were. And the process of growing up was just added up with incidents, quarrels, meaningless fightings, competition, comparison, so on and so forth. And somehow we forgot who we are. We came to possess a set of complex emotions. And sometimes we ask ourselves if we are using a different avatar when we go out to the street. Or we ask ourselves even if we are who we are. Well, to be honest, we change our avatar on Facebook once in a while, right? So that's true. So in order to be healthy again, to live healthy, first of all, we need to be able to accept ourselves as who we are, to embrace ourselves and make friends with the long-lost relationship. So yeah, Ronald, so please, can you have the next slide? So our body has a tremendous healing, self-healing capacity. If you have, you notice this, but in terms of, yeah, when you have, you know, some accidents, some injuries, you can realize it. But for the soul to be healed, we need some triggers. And yeah, Kung mentioned earlier about the definition of coaching in ICF term. I just want to bring out the one that actually I learned, and it's like a everyday life lesson for me to apply. From what I learned from CMA is heightening awareness to deepen the learning. So I apply that in the conversation, in my work conversation, and especially to my clients who are in need. So by making friends, like when we go out, when we see a stranger, so making friends is like we feel safe, we feel unjudged, we feel listened. So as a coach with the ACC framework, it does not only provide the environment, the safe environment for the client to see themselves, to talk to us, but it creates that space for them to realize and talk to themselves in a authentic, the most authentic way. Just like you see the two pictures almost the same in the sense that it's a tranquil lake surface. So that is how I apply my coaching skill by taking the clients, you know, like to the river to see the lake surface, to the river surface, so then can see themselves. And once they realize and they raise awareness of the situation they are in, then that is the point where the healing process starts. So let me share with you the two true stories about two of my clients. Well, coincidentally, they are the ladies and single mom. The first one is a single mom with two kids to raise. But then she was into a relationship with a guy, but somehow that guy, you know, cheated her somehow. But the feeling of being in love was so much tempting that she ignored somehow. She had like, her journey was like a roller coaster ride. So she smiled when she saw that guy, and then she cried when the guy didn't come, and she cried at night. Sometimes she laughed. It was almost, you know, like going nuts. And then by talking in the conversation, so the space that I or we as coaches create for the client, in this case for her, so she came to the realization that my mind was totally blown away. So she came to a self-confession. She enjoyed the pains by swimming in the bog. Like, you know, when somebody, you see somebody in the sandbox, for example, right? And then yelling for help me. And that moment when she came to that realization, she cried like, I think for 2 minutes. And I was just there looking at the screen. That time it was a COVID moment, so we didn't meet face to face. And she was crying. I was just there, and then she said, I have to admit that I enjoy that pain by swimming in that bog. Well, the conversation, of course, was wrapped up. I had that mixed feelings. For those of you who are coaches or coaches to be, you may feel this situation somehow when you don't know if you actually help them, right? We don't know. And then after a while, like 2 or 3 weeks, she contacted me, and she said that now she has a job. Previously, she had no job. And then the way she shared, the way she started to, you know, kind of like start the engine again. to start the new life. And that was a moment when I say, okay, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. The second client was one of my friends who was as like seeing her almost 20 years relationship with her husband fading away. And that moment she asked why, how come, 20 years relationship, right? And she because of those, and she couldn't realize that her action somehow, her behavior was like into the revenge mode. And I was actually more into the C framework, the clarity conversation, talking with her. And that was a time when she realized that her reaction actually somehow harm her physically, and also had the negative impact on her possibility to reserve the right to keep and raise the kids. And that moment when that was two conversations. Yeah. And since then basically she was now she's a health coach, helping a lot of women to live a healthier and a happier life. So in short, those are the story that I experienced. And by sharing with you, Ronald, so you may get to the slide again. So by sharing with you, I actually, I just think that every one of us always need a helping hand. Yeah, I'm looking at the screen. It does not mean that the healing process can be done in just one or two coaching conversation. No, it is not what I want to share with you. But in order for somebody to be aware of, to raise awareness of themselves, and also to have the clarity, so the conversation start from there, and then the healing process start from there. So the next slide, please, Ronald. So actually my key summary for today's sharing is there's a correlation between coaching and healing. It's not like, when people talking about healing, it's like therapy. So you need to go see a therapist. True, it's a journey. So it can be, to make it easier, you just look at it as a process of helping people to make friends with them again. For those of you who are Vietnamese, just to allow me to say this, for those of you who are not, sorry. So in Vietnamese, there's a term called chữa lành, which was translated directly by healing. But there's a word in that term meaning that cure. So when I talk to my clients, of course, if I sense that they have some, psychological problem, which is out of my capacity, then of course my advice to them and even the help to them is to actually connect them with the right person. But if not, then by the word, be using the word cure, chữa lành, it already means that somebody has some illness to be cured. But when we say làm lành, it means that making friends with ourselves again. And just be true to yourself. Are you actually a friend of yourself? I don't know. So the last thing from my summary is there's always light at the end of the tunnel. So that is why I'm here today to share with you. So in all, my honor to be here to share with you. But the key takeaway I want to give to you is I hope that I welcome you all to embark on this meaningful journey of helping people with one conversation at a time. You just don't know how much you can help them until you see that it's simple by giving our hands, 2 ears, the whole presence, and a thought-provoking conversation. So that's the end of my sharing. Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Thang, for your emotional but very meaningful sharing for all of us. And I really appreciate for what you've been sharing from your own experience. So now we go to the question and answer part. Maria, I noticed your hand is raised. Do you have any question for us? Okay, I noticed Maria say thank you. So we are really welcome all the questions from all of you. Or maybe not just a question, it can be a thoughts or something that pop up in your mind after listening to all 3 sessions.
I have a question.
Yes, Janet?
With the pre-marital coaching, I'm interested. I understand that the woman had a woman coach, the man had a man coach. Did they ever have any coaching together, all 4 of them together?
Wow, interesting question. For this part, I will let Kung to answer.
Yes, thank you, Janet, for the question. We experience it together. 2 of us will come and the 2 coaches will have to facilitate it. So all of us.
Every time there was 4 of you, or did you
Yeah.
sometimes have 2 and 2?
I think most of the time we'll have 4 of us. Only like one time we'll have 1 coach because the other one was busy or something.
Yeah, great. That's fascinating. Thank you. It's a totally new idea for me. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Janet, for the question.
Janet, is there any other question or thoughts that you would like to share with us?
Me?
Yeah.
Or anyone? Sorry. Did you say
Anyone.
Janet? Or...
No, I just say thank you.
Okay.
But if you do have something to share with us, just continue.
Well, first of all, I just think it's amazing that Vietnam has a population that is the size of half of the city I live in, and that you have 3 such amazing people in it to share with us today is something to celebrate. So it was really powerful what you shared today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Janet. I noticed you raised your hand.
Hi. So first of all, thank you so much for your beautiful messages. It's really nice to listen to all of your stories. First of all, I have one question about the pre-marital coaching. My question is how is that different, or how is that fit in the picture of transformative coaching? Because from what I know, like in not what I know, but from what I have been experiencing, you can also bring that topic to a transformative coaching conversation, like the one that we see in the live demo. So how is that different? Or how is that fit in the big picture in this scenario?
Thank you, Lynn, for the question. By the way, I noticed that my wife and my kid is here with me as well on the screen. So shall I instead invite her to share what kind of transformation for you that you might experience over the process of coaching? And say hi to people then.
So hi everyone, and my name is Mai, and he is our kid. So today I am really glad to join all of the sharing from Anh Cường, chị Châu, and anh Hoàng as well. And so as one of my like the thing that I experienced during the coaching process is that it is not only help us to move on like more effectively in our relationship and to prepare better for our marriage, but it is also like like it is a milestone in in for me to understand more about myself as well, so that to know who I am, what is my value, and like how can I support my partner to be a better version of himself. And so I must say that now for marriage, pre-marriage coaching, it is not only just to do with the relationship of a couple or for marriage only, but it also help me to prepare more for knowing myself, support my partner, and to be like to like and the coaching relationship do not end when we get married, but it will continue. Like our coaches will support us with our marriage life, and also taking care of the kids, or even when we have some problems or any conflicts in our marriage, we can come to them at any time and to have more coaching conversation. Thank you. That is my sharing.
Thank you. Can I share a further more things so that I can answer the transformation part of link? So if you are interested in the transformation, I think I will share one word that comes to my mind. That is, brokenness. So I used to be very arrogant, I think, when I came to the marriage coaching, because I didn't like to wash the dish at all. And in my hometown, washing the dish is something that is humiliating. It's for the girls. It's for the my background was like that. And before, yes, Janice is laughing. Yes, I think it's different in Australia. So before, if my girlfriend asked me to have a meal, I would think like, okay, will I need to clean the dish? If I clean the dish, I would say I will reject the eating and then go out to eat, so that I can avoid washing up. But over the coaching process, I came to a point that I think I reflected on that, and whether should I bring that kind of being to the relationship. And I think I was broken that kind of arrogance, and I just adopt the new person. Like, okay, I do it to serve my wife and my kids. So I hope that answered that question of yours, Link.
So thank you. Yes, thank you for the insight and the sharing. And I also saw Helen and some comment, and it's kind of, it can kind of fit in the logic that I have in mind. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, everyone.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Kung. And also thank you, Ling, for your question. Really appreciate that. I suppose many of us may have more questions. So if you have more questions, may I suggest that we stay back after this session, and we'll be happy to have a conversation with all of you. Being mindful of time, I'd like to first of all bring this webinar to a close. And any further questions, we'll be more than delighted to stay behind and answer those questions. Would that be all right, everyone? All right, excellent. Okay. So let's give a big applause to all the panelists who has been sharing today. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. They put in a lot of effort, and I'm really proud of them. Okay, so just some announcement before we bring this webinar to an end. All right. Okay. So there are more webinars. If you enjoyed the webinar today, then there are more webinars coming up tomorrow. In fact, for this particular topic, this is only part 1, and in the afternoon we're going to do part 2, where we're going to talk about coaching and parenting. Oh boy, yeah, and as well as life coaching itself. Okay, so these are the 2 life direction coaching. So these are the 2 topics that we'll be covering. All right, in the afternoon, 3 p.m. Singapore time today. And for the rest of the session, if you like to, tomorrow we have a keynote on professional coaching. redefined, as well as staying calm in times of overwhelm, as well as privilege and its impact on coaching practice, and a transformational team coaching approach for alignment. So if you're interested to sign up for some of these webinars, feel free to scan the QR code right now that is on the screen. That's the QR code on the left. And to also let us know that having attended the webinars, you are entitled to earn 2 CCEU, okay, for each webinar. Of course, there is a fee of $20, okay? So what you need to do is simply to scan the QR code and register for it, okay? So the QR codes are here. All right, so thank you very much. We are so happy that all of you are here. I'll hopefully and look forward to seeing you later in the afternoon at 3 p.m. where Ling and myself will be sharing with us on parenting and coaching, and as well as life direction coaching. Okay, so good day, everyone. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and goodbye. If you have questions, I'll be staying behind to answer some of your questions. Yes.